Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about air. It's all around us. Not that air compressor. Although you can't really see it because I put mine in a box. So I don't have a lot of tools and things, but every now and again I splurge and get myself something nice, you know, like that little guy. And I was roaming around the swap meet and I found the sandblasting cabinet, and everything in this car that I'm building is rusty and crusty, so I figured I need a way to make that not so rusty. So I got this air compressor, and you know, an air compressor is loud, so I had that. If you watch my previous videos, I had my little frame tilt and jig sitting out on the side of the house, which was a bunch of wood. I thought, let's put this air compressor in a box and see if I can make it not so loud. So I did that, and worked out pretty good. But you guys know when you put something in a box that makes heat, it doesn't work very well. So I'm going to show you what I did to make drier air. Not dry, drier. As you can see, I took the cover off. I keep a cover on here for serviceability. And the foam in there. And inside there is my my compressor. Let me turn you guys around, make this work better. So inside here is my compressor. I lined the inside with foam, you know, so it's nice and quiet. You can barely hear it when it kicks on inside. In the top of this here, different models of these compressors are different. I have a flat plate right here across the top, and there's a filter on the back side. So I plugged that filter off and got some bulkhead fittings and two of these little I don't know what they're called. They're little solarium, or I forget what it's called. Anyway, they're on Amazon, two little filters, and that gives me enough airflow and quieted it down a little bit. So then, you know, that's great for being quiet. Now I've got to worry about the hot air and the hot compressor, because when this line is hot, it puts condensation in the line, which feeds into the tank, and then you got condensation in your tank, which then comes out and gets all in your tools. And if you're doing a lot of air tool stuff, they end up rusting, which I figured out was my problem. So anyway, I originally had an ammo can, and I made a little design here of, you know, this little coil that sat in water, trying to cool down the air basically. And I mean, it worked great. I was about 200 some odd degrees coming out of the head of the compressor here, and it would be 80 or 90 going into the storage tank back there, which is great. But then I had this hot steamy mess of stuff in here that I keep having to, you know, open and fill with water, and that's not good for me. I like to just have it work and not have to worry about it. So then I found, you know, I could just take a transmission cooler, which is basically the same thing as, you know, coil and fin setup, and I just, you know, use them little zip tie mounts right here on the cover of this here, and every time the compressor kicks on, the air is blowing across that, so it helps cool it down. And I just got some, you know, copper tubing with some fittings on the end here. I think this was NPT. The ones going in, I mean, depending on what cooler you're gonna run, but the one going into my cooler was like a 37 degree AN or something. So I found one that went to whatever that was, 1/2 inch tube or whatever, and I flared it and put the connectors on. Anyway, made this line is what I'm trying to say. Coming out of the bottom, I did the same thing with copper. Came up to this, you know, air water separator thing, and it's got one of those auto drains on it, so as soon as the compressor stops, it goes psh, and it drains the water out down there, which there's not much. And then out of here, I just, you know, I had some PEX, so I ran some PEX there. Fun fact is, I originally had PEX here and here, and although it'll hold the pressure, there's a delineating scale on PEX. The hotter it gets, the less pressure it holds. So I was having problems with it blowing out PEX lines. yeah, it's hot coming out of the compressor. Go figure. So anywho, that's just PEX going into here. You can tell that stays nice and cool because that PEX is fine. And then coming out here, you know, I just fed off the large port, and I now have 2 air dryers or water separators, whatever. And I mean, it'll get some moisture in there from sitting, but it doesn't ever make it to the second little doodabber there. And you know, if you want to get fancy with your regulation, I guess you can do it twice. Yeah, all in all, it's a pretty simple setup. Works great for me. I did have a problem with this getting too hot. So, you know, it's an enclosed space. I didn't seal it along the back walls there, and along the bottom there's like little gaps so it can still get air in. But, you know, unless there's air movement, it's not going to cool down. And I was still getting some water in the end down here. So cut a hole on the side over there, the hole saw, and I mounted myself a dust collector fan that I had sitting on my shelf doing nothing. It's designed to move a lot of stuff. So when I turn that on, obviously I can't talk at the same time, but when I turn this on, it just sucks all the hot air right from the compressor head, and it draws in. You can see the light there from the back sides. It draws the air in, across, out, and just dumps it right there on that box. It's a good spot for that. So that's worked out pretty good. I'm gonna get me a temperature switch so that this will make, I got an outlet down there right around here somewhere. That'll make, when it gets hot, it'll just automatically turn on, as I like things that I don't have to forget to do. And that'll keep that cool. Yesterday I was painting on the car with using my HVLP gun, and didn't have any air or water coming out of it. I was spraying for a good while with just the air coming through the gun just to make sure it was clean, and not getting any water. So that's a good combination. Pretty cheap. I think I paid 30-40 bucks. Just went to the local O'Reilly's. You could probably get an Amazon trans cooler a little cheaper. I just went to O'Reilly's and got me one. Zipped it on there. It came with all the doodads and whatnots, the fittings and things, and I already had some copper tube laying around, but you can get that. That's pretty cheap for like 12 bucks for a roll of that. The little air water separator job was, you know, maybe 10 bucks, I think. I don't remember if I got that online or at one of the local stores. So I mean, you can get this going pretty cheap just as an air dryer. Get your stuff starting out dry, and then if you're still having some moisture issues, you can double up on, I think these guys are like 30 bucks on Amazon. Not that expensive. Just make sure you're getting the larger, you know, compressor side ones. This one here is more for like at the end of the line. It's not very big, and I may swap one of those up there, but we'll see. Anyway, that's how I did my air compressor to keep dry air and to keep it quiet. I'm gonna put this cover back on and I'll show you how quiet it is. It's not too terribly loud. I mean, you can still hold a conversation. It's noticeable that it's on when it's on, but if I'm inside the house, which this is the wall to my, you know, kitchen, and that's the door into the house, you really can't hear it. It sounds like a boom. You know, you might hear a little thing. It sounds like the dishwasher's running or something, but it's not too loud. So, thanks for watching. If you got any more ideas, or you got any tips or tricks you want to share, leave them down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.